Hi, everybody, and welcome to the first ever live episode of the Endless Celts Podcast. And you can tell by my face, I'm absolutely buzzing, and I'm joined by a show regular, William. How you doing?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. Been floored with the flu for the weekend, but Ange and the boys are nursing me to health with the good results, so we're doing good.
But you're here, and that's what counts. We roll on, so to speak, and we'll touch upon obviously the first protocol, and that's the Fir Park massacre. We absolutely destroyed Motherwell, William, and as we always do. Let's give a brief summary of the game. It was fantastic.
Pretty much like the derby game midweek and how we've been going the last few weeks. Flawless play by the boys. Never looked in any bother, and I think one of these games we're going to give some team an actual real doing. A 7-8-9 now. It's just so exciting to be a Celtic fan at the moment. Super exciting.
It's unbelievable, especially after the derby win, to go into Fir Park, which could be, I mean, it's a difficult venue, let's be honest. So we've had some sticky results there before. I think there was one time previously, I think it was around 2011, where we beat Rangers and then went there and we got beat. So it is a potential banana skin. But what do you think is the major difference between what we've seen in previous years and this team now? For me, it's the passion, the endeavour, the enthusiasm. The players just want to play for that badge, and the support. They recognise them every game. They're clapping after every game. Juranovic, that song, Pitbull and all's getting involved now. It's a fantastic atmosphere all around, isn't it?
It really is. Ange's built that relationship between the fans and the club again, which was broken at the tail end of last year, like we touched upon in this podcast on countless occasions. They were just relentless going forward. It's electric to watch. Some of the guys have just hit top gear. Abada's just unreal at the moment, unplayable. I think the biggest difference for me between now and even the beginning of the season, obviously the squad depth, and we've got, if somebody comes out, we've got somebody that's coming in that's just as capable. It's not a drop. It's like all these players are coming in and they're just as capable as a person that's dropped out. But for me, it's defensively. We don't look shaky anymore at the back. We look solid and confident. And I think Ange touched on it today, and he said a similar thing. And that like Joe Hart's not needing to be man of the match for us and pull off wonderful saves, because we're pressing that high and we're defending as a unit and as a team, not just the backline. It's good life to be a Celtic fan at the moment.
It's already, can't wait to every game. I will say next game's Aberdeen, which we'll touch upon later in the podcast. But we'll have to start with the goals. I think we'll have to start, as you said, with Leo Abada. This guy is on fire. Obviously, he's been a bit inconsistent, which is normal. He's only 20 years old, coming into a new country from Israel. Probably a better standard league than he's used to, more physical. But the last couple of games, he's been absolutely incredible. I think what else, what helps as well, William, is the quality of player. Like Hatate can pull off them magnificent balls in front of the face of goal. The keeper can't get it. The defender can't quite defend it. And Abadas does come in from the blind side of the left back all the time. And he done it Barisic, he done it the Motherwell, one of Motherwell's defenders. He's fantastic at the moment, isn't he?
Oh, he's on fire. He's so good at that outside in run, and it's as if he sees the back, the shut number of the fullback, and then all of a sudden, as soon as the fullback turns around, he's in front of him, and it's so difficult to defend. And when you, like you say, when you've got the likes of Hatate, I said that proper like Scottish Ouija, Hatate. And you've got players that have got the ability, O'Reilly and Rogic, that have got the ability to pick players like this out. Saying that, like Rogic and Hatate and O'Reilly can ping the balls in all day, but you need to make that run, and that's where the big money's spent. And Abada's just been an absolute revelation, and I'm really pleased for him, because I've been a big advocate of him in this podcast. He went through a bit of a tough time, and everybody was slating him, and he's played out of position, and I think he's always tried his best. And I think people sometimes tend to forget he's still a young lad. He's moved from a totally different culture, a totally different country. It's not easy to settle in. Plus the turnover in squad. I think he's settled in unbelievably well, and he's hit the ground running. And I've seen a lot of tweets saying that he's the player that the Rangers fans believe Kent is, and I couldn't think of a truer word.
Well, I mean, in terms of numbers, I mean, Abada's blowing Kent out of the water, but we're not obviously here to compare players. Abada's our player, and at the moment, he's a very special player. He's keeping a legend like James Forrest out, William, and that's no mean feat, regardless if James Forrest has tailed off or he's declined in terms of pace or whatever. But I mean, Abada's doing that, and James Forrest for me is a big influence probably to him. He's learning from him, and I think it's great to have guys like that around as well. Do that.
Definitely. And Forrest is still. I mean, we touched on it a couple of pods ago that he's still got a massive part to play in this club, and he's already done. He's already scored important goals for us this year, and he will continue to. But his experience it's like what we touched on with Brunei leaving last year. It's a big loss, even in the dressing room. Forrest has been here and done it, won countless trophies, season after season. To be his, I wouldn't say the understudy is the right word, but to come in and learn from him, it's invaluable for the likes of Abada. Remember, the guy's only 19 years old.
20.
Crazy.
He just turned 20.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. It's madness, and obviously there was players involved in the build up that goal. We'll start with the first one, and that was Greg Taylor with a fantastic pass to Hatate, who opened up the space and played the final ball in. But Greg Taylor is a man who divides many Celtic supporters. I mean, John is the most obvious one, my co-host, but it's that Rangers game. He was a warrior. He took so many knocks, and he was totally done at the end of the game. I didn't really think he would probably play against Motherwell, but he has, and that's testament to him. I just think he's shown a different side to them as well. He seems to be more up for it, more ready, more physical, and he's playing great balls into the midfield, and he's getting used to that inverted wing-back role that Ange likes to play.
Definitely, and he's fit as a fiddle. He's probably one of the fittest guys in the squad. I've always been a big fan. I think he like in that Rangers game, nothing surprised me from what he did. Just seen that.
He wants you back in the shed.
Taylor is nothing surprised me in that game because he gives that every game. He gives 100% every game, and he might not be the most talented, like we've said, but he'll fight for the shirt, and he always has done. And I'm just so pleased to see that he's actually reaping the plaudits now. And you know what? He's maybe before, because he didn't have competition. Now we're starting to see competition for him with Scales, and Juranovic has been played in there. I'm just so pleased that he's coming good, and well, he's not coming good because I think he has been consistently good, but he's actually getting plaudits now, and I think the gaffer's been the same. He said the same today. He says all the forwards get all the plaudits, but these guys have been fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, Greg Taylor for me, like he's not flashy, he's not full of pace, he's not full of skills or tricks, but what he does give you is full effort. He gives you passion. And regardless of past allegiances, he's come into Celtic, he's took what it means on. Ange has brought him on further into the club. And I think Ange referred to the fact today he's learning from Callum McGregor, and he's become like a leader within the dressing room, which is fantastic to see. I never really thought Greg Taylor would be a leader, but I mean, if he's going down that road, then fantastic. And to touch upon Hatate, I mean, we've spoken about him since he's come in. Absolutely sensational. The way he can find a pass, his intelligence on the ball, running into space, creating opportunities for players that probably only maybe Rogic and Riley could probably do. He just makes it look absolutely easy, doesn't he?
He does. I mean, when he played the first 5 minutes of his debut, I actually said he's my new hero. He's unbelievable.
What's wrong with the curtains?
I'd love to have a pair of curtains down here back in the 90s again.
He's on about these curtains.
I know. I thought he's got everything. That Derby game, he was the highlights of him chasing the ball back down from a corner and winning a last-ditch tackle, as well as obviously the plaudits he got for scoring the goals and doing what he done going forward. Like you say, he makes it look. It's for me a lot of the time. It's like it's as if he's playing in a warm up. It's like Jota's the same. See when they take control of the ball, it's like so blasé, and he plays a wee 5-yard pass as if it's nothing. The boy's got everything, and the fact that we got him for, I don't even know what we got him for, snippet 1.3 or something, 1.2, if that.
We stole him.
He's it's unbelievable value for money, and the fact that he's not in the Japanese squad. Their midfield must be unreal, by the way. If he can't even get in the squad, he's been a revelation since he's turned up. Unbelievable.
But it just shows you as well, probably people's ignorance towards the J League. in the markets, and everyone in the comment section here, Williams, wanting you back in that shed. I don't know what that shed's doing to people, but I mean, Hatate, he's quick, and Ange said that he's only match fit, which is actually quite scary to think that. Do you know what I mean? This guy could go up levels even more than he already is. It's madness. And then you look at the magician. Tommy Rogic was back in the team, and we were all waxing lyrical about Matt O'Reilly, rightly so, fantastic player. But then Rogic comes back to William and reminds us all of what we're missing.
He absolutely ran the show. Strictly Come Dancing was back again. He's just dancing around players for fun. He has been unbelievable this season. He's getting more and more minutes. He's playing 90 minutes. He looks strong. He looks fresh. I don't know how people. You've got players trying to wrestle him like WWE style to the floor, and he's still coming away with the ball. I actually thought coming back from international duty, he might struggle to get back in because Hatate and O'Reilly have been excellent in the midfield. O'Reilly, I thought, was actually unfortunate not to start, but I mean, Rogic just put on an absolute masterclass. He should have scored at least 4, I think. And his first goal was just, I mean, he did it against Command.
Do me a favour. Do me a favour. Remind me of a second goal because it's really slipping my mind. It really is.
Abada down the wing, cut it back, and he just put it in the far left corner.
Yeah, yes. I remember it now. Yeah.
Just Tom Rogic doing Tom Rogic things, an absolute wizard. And then his interview after the game was probably up there, just as good as his performance on the pitch.
Oh,
what a legend!
What did he say? We've been top of the pile for a decade.
The reporter kind of said something along the lines of, "Yous are top of the pile now. How's it going to feel? Is it going to feel slightly different that you're chasing Rangers that Rangers are chasing you rather than you chasing them?" And Tom Rogic just said, "We've been top of the pile for the last decade, mate. We know the majority of the squad know what it's like to be there. They've been doing it for years. We'll be fine. Don't you worry."
I think when teams come up against Rogic in that type of form, they must be like, "We're not getting near him." I see what absolutely amazes me, the fact that he's not the quickest, but he can go by players for fun. There was a point in the first half where he took the ball and it looked like he gave it away with his touch, and he just glided past the player, and you're like, "Wow!"
It's like Federer. Federer in the tennis he doesn't look quick, but he just, like you say, just glides and floats about, and that's what Rogic is like. He doesn't look the quickest, but he just absolutely floats about like he's on clouds. It's unbelievable. He's just an absolute magician.
What was it people say? His feet are cushions. The way he cushions the ball, it's absolutely sublime. And that goal when he just whipped it into the far left hand corner, top bins, whatever you want to call it, absolutely fantastic. Like, and you look at the midfield, right? Matt O'Reilly's coming off the bench, and he made a great difference. He came on again. He was playing passes. I think the commentator said in England he was the most productive midfielder in all top 5 leagues, which I mean that's amazing. Yeah, and the Celtic scouting team picked him up again for peanuts, £1.5 million. Could you see them two? I know people say Turnbull and Rogic struggle to play together because of the same type, but Matt O'Reilly probably couldn't he?
I think so, yeah. I think Matt O'Reilly's got a decent engine in him, and he looks like from what I've seen, he looks decent in a tackle, and he can go box to box. So I don't see why they couldn't play together. We've just got so many good options now. It's unbelievable. I mean, only 6-8 weeks ago, we were playing like a front three of Montgomery, Abada up front, and Juranovic on the right, and now we've got this plethora of players to come in. And like I said, when you're dropping one out, the next one that's coming in, it's not a drop off in talent because the squad we've got now is unbelievable. And I think that's one of the major differences between now and maybe when we were struggling a wee bit at the start of the season. Mm-hmm. But we're flying now. Everybody's buying into Ange's philosophy, and no wonder, because the man's just an absolute dream. Every time he gets a mic thrown in his face, I'm just sitting in awe for 20 minutes, just listening, just telling everybody to shut up, listen, and just speaking. And I just love the fact that he talks every interview when he's asked a question. It could be football related, but he brings it back to life and how, remember, it's people and persons we're dealing with. It's not. It's just brilliant what he does. I just love the fact that he turns it around and makes it personal to us, and he gets the club and he gets the fans, and just what a superhuman being.
I think Ross kind of makes a great point there. the strength that we've created in the last 2 transfer windows is incredible. I think he signed a total 14 new players in the space of them 2 windows. And you look at the team, and as you said, when a player comes out, it's not an automatic drop off. We all thought Ralston was going to be that, but he's come in, he's done fantastically well, and he's called upon. You look at the midfield now, I mean, it's jam packed with absolute star players. Like Beaton could come in the number 6 role, do an amazing job. Rogic, O'Reilly, Hatate, Uragici, who hasn't really featured because he got injured. But I know we're going to come on to Mieta to speak about him because he played fantastically well out in the left as well. But I want to come to Callum McGregor. There's been a lot of kind of not bad, people saying bad about him, but obviously you know who I'm referring to, Chris Boyd. Them comments that he made. I know Callum McGregor today said it was kind of put to bed and the talked it through and all that kind of thing. But even for a pundit to say that, when you know he's carrying an injury, he's wearing a mask, which clearly shows he is. And the fact that he comes out and plays, he shows his passion for the club, and you've got pundits saying stuff like that, that's not on, is it?
No, but it doesn't surprise me with the pundit in question. It sickens me that he's never off my bloody telly. Every time I put it on, he's fucking on it. And he was obviously a bit peeved at the result. And it seems now, I've seen Calmack's press conference today, and he says that Boyd has reached out and realised his choice of words wasn't the best, and it's not how he meant it to come across. And he's pretty much, lack of a better phrase, shat the nest and retreated, and now he's got his tail between his legs. And Calmack, being Calmack, has accepted it and moved on. I don't think it would have been a similar result if it was the other way about and it was said about Mr. Boyd himself, but shows the class of Calmack, and he's been unbelievable this year for us, and even more so with the mask. Captain Calmack is just the superhero. He's our captain, and I think if it is a superhero because ever since he's put that mask on, he's even found an extra gear. He's been unbelievable. And as soon as they're going on sale in the club shop, I'll be buying one. Yeah, kicking about the street with it on.
I have to say as well, William, I mean, we're getting loads of interaction in the comments, which is fantastic to see. There's so much conversation going on in them, from my curtains to your shed. People talking about Raphael Sheehy.
By the way, the shed I'll be back in the garage. I just need the broadband put in it. It's getting fitted, don't worry.
You don't want him going. I mean, see as well to note, Abada got 2 assists in that game. O'Reilly finished the game with an assist for Mieta, and we'll talk about Mieta now. He started on the left. I predicted that in my lineup prediction. I mean, not going to say anything about that, but I was closest again. And you look at it, as you said, you can rest Jota effectively. You're still effectively playing with a second choice front three. Let's be honest, Kyogo's missing, Jota wasn't playing, all that kind of thing. And then you look at Mieta, another absolute cracker coming from Japan. The speed he's got, I mean, people must be like, there's no way I'm defending him. Your man, Stephen O'Donnell, he had him on toast. And then he obviously gets the goal by a fluke. But what I'm loving seeing, Ange is clearly building a philosophy, which Mieta is a big part of. The closing down, the work ethic, the pressing from the front. And he's already scored 2 goals in 3 SPFL games. So another cracking player, isn't it?
Definitely. I thought I looked decent on the left, but I thought he looked far better going through the middle actually in the end. Him in behind it's so good to have the different options. We've got big Giacomakis obviously, who's just a big battering ram, and he can just fight defenders. But Maeda's that different option where he can get in behind, and to have the options is just excellent. He looks a real handful as well. Much of the Kyogo mould. He looks very unselfish. Just wants to fight for the team as long as the team's getting the result. Another unbelievable signing for peanuts again. And this is what we talked about with the fact that we've got these guys in now. I think this has been probably our best January window. It's got to have been our best January window ever, getting these guys in.
Oh yeah,
because it's been it's like I said, it's only 6 weeks ago we were sitting discussing the front three of Montgomery, Juranovic, and Abada, and now we've got plethora of talent. It's night and day from what we've had, and Ange's philosophy is just relentless, and these guys are just relentless. The fact that we are 3-0 up at half time every week now, it's like, I know it's unbelievable.
It's what I mean. A reporter said to Ange, "What about Tom Rogic? You don't rest him?" And he's like, "No, we don't rest during the season." What a response to that!
That was
What an
brilliant.
absolute! And it just points back to that. I know that live mic'd up session hasn't happened since, but when he said we don't stop, we never stop, that's his philosophy. It shines through every game. And regardless if it's 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 2-1, whatever the score may be, you can see it. You can see them still trying to press. They're still trying to go forward. And you hark back to last season. It's a far cry from it. I know we have 14 new players. I think it was 9 of the starting 11 for Rangers was totally different. And that again points to the testament that what Ange has done, hasn't it?
Definitely. To have the turnover in players, I mean, we touched on it at the tail end of last season to say that the turnover in players was going to be so much that how is he going to get them to gel quick enough? How are we going to be moving forward? We were all sitting thinking, well, is the league out of touch this year? And look at us now. We're playing the best football we've played in, even the best football we've played in my generation, possibly. And that's including Roger O'Neill's everything. That good. That I've never ever seen an attacking threat like we have had this season. And it's now, like I said, I think as a team we're defending better because we've got that press. There's actually not as and the team's buying into it, and we've got the players that now that can shoot that system, and they do press and they keep going. The defending in our own half isn't half as much because of that. We're defending as a unit. There's not as much pressure on Hart and Starfelt and CCV. And I think that's the big difference between us at the start of the season and now. In the Europa, I think the Europa League just came three months too soon for us, because I think now we could be giving it a real go. Just maybe a bit naive and caught in the counter, but I mean, it's night and day in the last 2 or 3 months since the guys have came in.
You make a great point, because we're not even talking about how good the centre backs are because of the way we're playing. It's like we're totally ignoring them, which when we're not really. They're a final part of the team. Starfelt's fantastic. Carter Vickers, we need to sign him up. I mean, that's really obvious. But Joe Findlay brought up Giakoumakis, a player that literally again slipped my mind, and what a difference I think he's made. I know he had an iffy game where people were saying his touch was bad and there was weird comments saying he shouldn't play for Celtic again and stuff like that, but you have to give a guy time. Yeah, I really do. And what I noticed against Rangers and against Motherwell, we've missed that physical presence up top. And I know Kyogo, Maeda, they offer the press, they offer the flashy forwards, the skill, the technical side of it. But Giakoumakis gets stuck in. He really does. Defenders can't get round him. He shields them off. He's been absolutely fantastic since he's come into the team, and that's after his injuries as well.
Definitely. You know me, I've been a big advocate for him, and I think he's going to score goals in this side. I think that's the only thing that's probably lacking slightly now is his goal, but his work ethic and just to have that other option. Like I said, Maeda and Kyogo, these are the ones that like to get in behind. Giakoumakis is another option. And he's perfect for Hearts at Tynecastle as well. He was brilliant. He wrestled the two centre halves. Against Motherwell, I thought he was really unfortunate. There was a few fouls given against him, and there were never fouls against him. If anything, there were fouls on him. And you can tell he's really working his socks off. I think he said at the Alloa game when he came back and scored, he says, "This is the start of my season now because I've had my injuries." And Bhoys absolutely hit the ground running. He's been absolutely superb.
He's a big bustler. My granddad would describe a physical forward as a bustler. Somebody gets stuck in.
He's good with his feet and that as well, by the way. It's very I don't want that to get underrated. He's good at taking the ball in, and he's very good with his feet. He just needs a few more goals, and he's an absolute steal again. And we know he's capable of scoring goals because he did it in the Dutch league. He was a top goal scorer, wasn't he, last season? And if he gets in that 6-yard box we talked about it earlier, the distribution of Hatate and O'Reilly and Rogic and Abadas, he's going to score a barrel of goals as well. It's so good to have these options.
I mean, being the top goal scorer in the Eredivisie for a team that got relegated, it's no mean feat. And I think Jed Thomas here brings up a great point. Joe Hart, again, what an absolute bargain basement signing of a former English international, won Premier Leagues, and I always hark back to it. I didn't like him at all before he came to Celtic. Obviously, outside perceptions can kind of blind you in what they expect, but Joe Hart's come in. he's embodied everything to do with Celtic Football Club. You always see him and Cal McGregor talking. He's always the first up the Ange when there's a break in play to give instructions how to finish out a game. And I think Jed Thompson right again. The influence he has is on the senior players, I think, too, because of the experience at the top level and the young guys coming through. It's second to none, isn't it?
Definitely. We're doing Jed. He's been unreal off the pitch as well as on the pitch. His leadership qualities are there to be seen. I mean, he's done everything. This is why it riled me up in the transfer window when I don't want to hark on about them anymore, but when Bhoys said Ramsey's the biggest signing since Gascoigne. Well, Joe Hart's been there and done it and seen more than Aaron Ramsey has and has more medals than that man has. I think it's ridiculous that he's not had the fanfare that other types of players have, because he's done everything in the game. And the amount of caps, he's got nearly 100 caps for England as well, is he not? 80 caps or something?
I think it's like 70 something.
Aye. What a career he's had. And he's another one that's came in and just totally bought into what the club is and what it's all about. If nothing shows you that, then it's him at Alba bringing the young girl on the pitch and taking selfies and making sure she's got a picture of her favourite player, Jota. That's what it's all about. And he's a future manager for sure. He's absolute steal again. What a signing! What a signing!
There's definitely no words in places about Joe Hart. That's for sure. And I mean, the first thing I got, what I done, your cough's contagious. Thanks for the screen. The first thing I done today when I got home was put on the Postecoglou interview, and he said something really interesting again, as he always does. Someone, I can't remember the question. Someone's going to obviously correct me in the chat. By all means, do it, because I want to know what the question was. But he replied something like this. He said that he's not just the manager of Celtic Football Club. He's the manager of everything around it, everything that involves the club, whether it be fans, players, togetherness. And this guy. And it's hard not to talk about him. He's the guy that's doing all this. Let's be fair about it. He's the man that's brought this team together. And team togetherness is a big thing. Was non-existent last season. Players wanting away. Ange Postecoglou has brought in 14 players from around the continent. Japan, Portugal, down south, wherever it may be. And they've come in. And I think who embodies it the most is Ranovitz. He seems to be pals of everybody. Does run about belly flopping them and high-fiving them. And that, to me, makes the bond between the players and the fans so much more meaningful, knowing that the players are together throughout this as well.
Absolutely. He's just, he is the be-all and end-all of what's happening at the moment. He's been superb. Evening, man.
Evening, Martin.
He's, every time he's in an interview, like I always say in this podcast, I'd hate to be his wife, because you're never winning an argument with him. He's always got to come back. He's always got something to say. And he always knows the right thing to say. We've had highs and lows over the last few months, and he's always been right there with the right thing to say. And the fact that he's talking about us as a club, not just the team manager, as in supporters, staff, the family, it's, I mean, just inject it into my veins. Stop it, Ange. You need to stop it, because it's just too much now. And I mean, in the summer we were all screaming for a certain Mr. Howe to come in and take over a club, and by all accounts it sounds like he wouldn't come because you couldn't get certain staff members in or whatever, and just flown pretty much the length of the whole earth, the world, on his own with no staff, taking a backroom staff that we had that everybody thought was an absolute broken mess, turned around a full squad pretty much on his own in a new country. And he's done it all as humble as you can be. He's a proper gentleman, and he just oozes absolute class. And that Howe deal breaking down could be the greatest thing that's ever happened to this club.
Oh, 100%. I mean, we talked about it last week after the game against Rangers. We were all ignorant of the fact of Postecoglou, and we have to admit it. There's so many, whether it be Celtic podcasts, Celtic news articles, pundits as well. You have to look back and be like, what I said there was embarrassing. I include myself in that. I listened back to one of our podcasts, William, when Postecoglou was being rumoured, and the things we were saying was just like, oh my. You look at it now, and this guy has brought the support together, the team together, and you look at it, and we touched upon at the start of the podcast. I'm going to put you on the spot. What would be your first choice midfield? Because the guys he's brought in, I can't pick between them. If If you had to do it, come on, give us something here.
See, the thing is, I've seen a lot of these going about your best first 11s, and everybody's forgotten about David Turnbull, this is the guy that carried us for the last 6 months of last season. Saying that, I probably wouldn't have him in my first 11, but just to have the options is unbelievable. I mean, with the way Ange plays, he's going to need a full squad to rotate, and to have all these guys in is just. I'm glad I don't need to make the choice. I mean, Calmack's going to be a starter every week. Hatate's just
Francis is right in.
Aye, I wouldn't be. O'Reilly is. You're dropping O'Reilly in there though as well. It's a difficult one. I'm not making the choice. I'm not the gaffer, so put me on the spot all you want.
But I mean, this is what Ange craved, isn't it? We talked about it. He wanted to rotate. He couldn't rotate early in the season. We were playing players who eventually became injured. Fitness was a big issue. Now we can choose between, and effectively, if you bring in already for Rogic, you're not complaining. Turnbull's going to be back soon. Another cracking player. McGregor beat off on number 6 row. Hatate in there. Urigichi's in there. And if you want to go further down the list, James McCarthy, Sorrow, they're all floating about. So that's what he's craving, isn't it?
This is what we all want. I mean, I remember just before the break, we talked about how that coming into these games, the Japan and Australia were going to call up Rogic and Kyogo. We didn't know if he was injured at the time or not, but he would be going away with Japan. And I remember being on a podcast and saying, we cannot not have Kyogo and Rogic in that starting lineup in the derby game because we won't win the game. There's not enough depth in the squad. How wrong was I? So, mate, Joe Finlay, that's brilliant, mate.
Yes, Joe. Yes, Joe.
And our good friend Russell Bhoys was on the show, and we were talking about the window, and he hit the nail on the head. He said, you don't want players to come in and fill up the squad, and he can fill in for you. You want players that are coming in that are going to go straight in the 11. I'm wanting that shot. I'm playing number 8. No, I'm not. And competing. And that's what's sadly lacked. And I've said it countless times on this podcast. Last season, O'Neill Lennon, I talk about the whole Alex Ferguson when he could see he could see that Alex Ferguson see when a team was starting to get on the decline. There's no competition for places. He would move big players on, and we didn't do that. Lennon came in and just thought, well, it's no broken, so I'm not going to try and fix anything. We've won 4 trebles in the trot, and it just kind of got lackadaisical. Everybody, these guys came up. Edward was well off the pace for months, but he knew he was playing. He knew he was starting every week because he never had anybody pushing him. And this is the reason the squad's so vibrant. And
trust Ross. Ross, you're a madman.
Second funniest in the podcast. Well done. And the squad depth's just frightening now. You wouldn't be. See tomorrow night in the game. Doesn't matter what midfield 3 is going to go with for me. I'm happy with any because they're all absolutely electric now, and that speaks volumes for the window we've had. It
does. It really does. And I think you're right to go back to that point Russell made. If he's watching, hello Russell, big fan of the show. And you look at the fact players that coming into our squad now, the step up, there's no drop, and that's fantastic to see. And you could talk about it all night. You really could, because even from defence, Greg Taylor, Liam Scales, you've got your Alaphiliades, Ralston, Welsh can come in. Do you know what I mean? All these players can make a difference. And we're going to look ahead now to the game against Aberdeen on tomorrow. Yeah, it's tomorrow, isn't it? Yeah. I'm looking down at the calendar going, it's tomorrow. But before we're actually into the game, one thing that's really pissing me off, to be honest, is the TV coverage that Scottish football's getting. Yet again, this football match isn't being covered. It's probably one of the biggest games in the calendar, bar maybe Hearts and Rangers. We're going to have to pay another fee of probably £13 from their channel to watch it. It's an absolute disgrace, isn't it?
Yeah, just hoping BT or whoever else comes back in, or even Amazon or whatever come back in, because it's a crime. And the only reason that the games were on at the weekend was no doubt because English games were FA Cup, so they didn't have any Premier League games to show. It's a disgrace. They only care about the derby games, and that's it. That's why they pay the big bucks, just to get that. Here we go.
I mean, these comments about Hatate are hilarious.
I just thought we're just regurgitating all of Chuck Norris's best phrases.
No, but yeah, I mean, the TV coverage is up. I mean, BT done it well. And I mean, they still do a show, the BT Sport Extra, and there's still Chris Sutton, McCoist, and Darryl Curry. And that's probably a better watch than most of the coverage the Sky even attempt to put out. And as you said, they're only interested in one game. And you're right, the reason that game was on at the weekend because the FA Cup games were on. Simple as. Otherwise, it'd be Sky Sports main event, Preston v. whoever fucking Preston's facing, let's be honest. You know what I mean? That's the way it usually goes.
See when it was on before, was it BT Sport? With
it was BT Sport with
Sutton and Cragen and McCoy.
Yes, yeah.
And they had a weekly SPL show, and it was brilliant.
They still do.
It's far better than us. We get absolutely nothing on Sky. Absolutely nothing.
And then when it pans to the commentary team, you're like, oh, come on, man, come on. Well, look at the game. I mean, I thought at least after that comment, he wouldn't be on the panel for at least one game, but he's there front and centre as always. And it's
for that. She's in my 5 list for the wife that I'm allowed to if I ever meet my lifter. So Ailey, if you ever want to meet in the STV lift in Glasgow, whatever, just you
can only dream it. But you look at it as well. I mean, Sky Sports, they need to be stripped of the rights. That's more than obvious. This Scottish football as a brand deserves more than that. And I think Amazon's actually a great pick if they do a pay-per-view service. I'll be all for that, but we'll never know. We'll see in the future. We'll look ahead to this game. We're coming in 2 great wins against Rangers and Motherwell, 2 clean sheets, 2 fantastic performances. Aberdeen, they've been beat. Well, they're not haven't won a game in their last 3. They've been beat by St Mirren, drew Ross County, and they got beat by Livingston. And again, there seems to be a lot of heat on Steve McGlass at Aberdeen. And going into this game, Postecoglou summed it up perfectly in his press conference. He doesn't really pay attention to results beforehand. He focuses on that game. And Pataudry, as we said about Fair Park, it's another one that Celtic need to take care of.
Definitely. I don't think there's too much to... The way we are flying, I wouldn't be too afraid of what Aberdeen are doing at the moment. I don't think they're... For what I've seen in this year, I've watched them a few times, and I don't think they've looked great going forward. I think Ramirez has been pretty much... I think I said that the last time we were facing them. If we nullify him, I think he's the biggest threat, and only threat, to be honest with you, other than set pieces. And and obviously, you need to watch the likes of Ferguson and the wingers and Hayes and stuff. But the way we're going now, I can't see anybody stopping us. I think who was on Sky Sports with Boyd at the weekend, Alex Neil, he said it himself. He said, I think they're unplayable at the moment. He says that he thinks that teams are coming in against us and thinking, I'll take 2-0 now before we even kick off. And I think that's how teams are feeling about us at the moment. And I think the fear factor's properly back. And that's not just at Celtic Park. That's home, away, neutral venues. Doesn't matter. I think teams are going in terrified of us now. And the pace and the pressing and how electric we are. And so they should be, because the football's frightening. And I can't see anything but a win for us tomorrow night.
I mean, everyone in the comment tends to agree with you. If John's alluding to the fact teams always step up against us, but if we play well, we'll win. Ross has said the same thing. The only obviously concern you have is you go in, become a wee bit complacent. Not that I'm saying it will happen, but it's always a possibility. Aberdeen do have a great squad, let's be honest. I mean, Scott Brown, our former captain's the linchpin on that team. And then, as you said, Ramirez, another good centre forward player. They've got Adam Montgomery. And I want to, before we move on to the lineup and score predictions, Daniel brings a great point here. Mickey Johnson, he never got his loan move, which I thought was maybe a bit of a bad thing for him. I thought he would have wanted out to play first team football. He hasn't really been involved in the bench. I know he was on the bench in the weekend, I'm pretty sure, but he hasn't really come on again for cameos. What's your thoughts on his future at Celtic?
I don't think he's got one, if I'm being honest. I think a loan move would have been perfect for him. Was he injured again? Is that the reason he's not?
I think he picked up a slight knock, but he's back in training.
With the depth of squad we've got now, he's never ever getting in that first 11. It looks like if Jota's not in it, and in the left, Maeda looks like he's the next choice in there. I know Kyogo can play there as well. We've touched on it before. In glimpses he looks like a player, and he's shown it in glimpses in the past. but he's been far too injury prone. I don't see a future for him, if I'm being honest with you. Especially if he's got legs like Twiglets, then this high intensity pressing game is not going to be for him, is it? To be fair, and I think if you're looking at the squad and you're looking at the positions he plays in, he's pretty low down in the pecking order. To be fair,
the thing that bothers me the most, and we're all coughing in here, Dave. We've got the Ange Postecoglou cough. It's contagious.
The weekend, man. Still dying.
I mean, the thing that bugs me the most about Mikey Johnson, you can see his potential. And I know people are going, why are we talking about Mikey Johnson? But Daniel brought up a great point. To be fair, he should have had the loan move, and everyone's agreeing in the comments that he should have. And you think the likes of Jada coming in, Maeda coming in, he'd be like, right, I need to get out here, prove myself again. And we spoke about it before, William. The Ryan Christie effect, again, another bad word among Celtic support. He's not having a good time down in Bournemouth, is he? He got put out by Bournemouth in the FA Cup. Love it. But you need that type of player to come out, get his game time, get bulked up, or whatever he needs to do, and come back and try again at least one more time. But he doesn't seem to be grasping them opportunities, does he?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't like to comment if I don't know the ins and outs. It might be that nobody wants him. I'm sure that he would Premier League clubs, as in Scottish Premier League clubs, would be having a sniff at him because he has obviously a talent, but he's just it's as if you buy a Jota off Wish. He's just nowhere near good enough. And now, like I say, with the plethora of talent that we've got, but I hear what you're saying about him going away and coming back, because Christie did do that and he was an absolute animal when he came back. And by the way, I still don't understand that Christie move, because I think this team and this Ange's style suits him absolutely down to a T, because he had an engine for days. He would press and close down, and he's got goals and assists in him. So, but fair play, he wants to go down and play in front of about 8,000 a week, and get knocked at a couple of Bournemouth. So
maybe he just wants some long walks in the park. You never know. But we'll look at the score lineup predictions. This is again difficult. Anyone in the comments wants to chip in, I'll bring it up as well. So give me your lineup predictions and your scores. Well, I was going to say come to yourself first, William, but you're only one on. Look at the team. No, but what would be your lineup prediction first?
I think he'll go strong. This is a tough side, and he did rest a couple at the weekend. I think he'll go the usual back four and Hart and goals. So Juranovic right back and Taylor at left. The CCV and Starfelt. The midfield three is the one where it is, because he can switch and change, and like I said, he's not going to lose any talent. Like I said, it's not going to waver. I think he'll probably go with the same three. To be honest with you, he might take Hatate out and put O'Reilly in, because Hatate's played.
Big call.
I know he didn't play a lot of football before he came. I think Ange always said he's been out for a month and he's not fully fit. But I'd play the same midfield three. Rogic was electric at the weekend, and I'd probably drop my Maeda, to be honest with you. I'd play Jota on the left, Abada on the right, because Abada's been their best player the last 3 or 4 weeks. He's got us out of a few holes, Dundee United namely being one, and he just looks like he's going to score or assist every time he steps his foot in the park now. So I would go with A2 and Giacomakis up front. Although saying that, he could go with Maeda up front and give Giacomakis a rest. But I think who's their centre half? Big Bates and two Bruises. I think he'll put Giacomakis in for a fight with them. So I think it'll be much the same side.
John has kind of sparked a wee debate here in the comments, and he said, imagine Maeda, Kyogo and Jada leading your front line. I'm assuming he means from left to right here. And Jed Thomas came in and said, we can't drop Abada. What would you do in that situation? Because that's a real life situation. If all players are fit, would you still go with Abada on the right?
100%. He's been our best player the last 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. I agree with my big mucker, Jed. Well said, Jed.
Well said. And for me, again, guys, anyone who wants to chip in with their lineup predictions, feel free. I'll show them up. I'll go with Hart. Juranovic to come back in. I'll go with Carter Vickers, obviously. Starfelt, Taylor, McGregor. Oh, it's hard now. I know what you mean. I know what you mean. You have to play Rogic. because he has a fantastic record against Aberdeen, and I think he want to probably keep that going. Do you bring Aurelian for Hatate? I don't know, especially at that ground, because you need pressing, because they'll come at us. That's definitely one that's going to happen. I'll go with Hatate, Aurelian on the bench again. I'll go Jota on the left. Oh man. Yeah, no,
agrees with me, because we're both the two most knowledgeable on the podcast, so he knows what he's talking about.
Give over, honestly. I'll go Jack and Marcus through the middle and Abada on the right. Score prediction again, guys. Get involved in the comments. What are you saying, William?
I'll go 3-0 half time.
Game over.
No, I'll go 3-0.
I'll go 2-0. I'll go for a comfy Francis 2-0. He loves that wee scoreline. And I mean, again, I'm going to say bring this end of the podcast, but I do want to keep talking. I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying the interaction from the comments. It's fantastic to see. And we're actually coming up to our first year together as a podcast. It's madness, isn't it, William, that we've came this far. This is our first live video. The interaction has been fantastic. We've averaged around 25 to 30 viewers, which is great for us. We really appreciate it, guys. Jed Thomas, a newcomer. Martin, who always watches. Daniel, who always chips in about my curtains. Just leave the curtains alone, guys. And William's going to be back in the shed. But it's fantastic to see the Celtic community just get involved and embrace what's going on, isn't it?
Definitely. I've every other podcast I usually take a wee moment and say that. I mean, we're just 5 daft laddies talking about our first love.
6.
And our 6 daft laddies talking about our love. And Glasgow Celtic as much as many others. And the fact that we started it and we were in a bit of a bad place as a club when we were in lockdown, and this was kind of our replacement for going to the pub and sitting and discussing with the guys in the pub and debating, and it's now became a way of life for us, and the fact that we're almost a year to the day on and we're live on YouTube and there's people. It's by the way, I'm creating a spin-off show, and that's mine. I'm doing that. I'm hosting that. Sitting in a shed.
Sounds it could go either way. That I wouldn't go that.
I wouldn't open that email. Aye, the fact that we are where we are now, and we're going live and stuff on Facebook, and I've had people stop me in the shopping centre and say I love the show and stuff like that. It's unbelievable. I mean, like I say, if there was only 2 people listening in, it'd be enough for us. We just do it because we enjoy it, and it's time with our pals to discuss Celtic. But the fact that it's growing and everybody's getting involved, it's superb, and looking forward to people commenting much more than a lot of pish that I talk on here.
You don't talk pish. I thought you were one of the most knowledgeable people on the podcast.
I know. I was just wanting some appreciation for you. That's fine. I got it. Thanks.
That's fine. You've got my acceptance. Don't worry. I mean, I'm loving it. I really am, guys, and the people who are. I know it sounds cringy and stuff, but we really do appreciate the support. And Celtic Football Club at the minute are in a great place. As William said, we started this podcast and we were all angry. We're all, oh, get him out. This team's going this way. This team's going that way. And look at us now. Look what a year literally can do. February 12th, that'll be our year. And it's just fantastic to see William and Postecoglou. I'll hark back to it. He's done it.
Definitely. He's getting a Valentine's card for me on Monday anyway. Tell you that for nothing. He's brought back the Thunder, as we said a few seasons back. And like I say, the relationship between the club and a year ago, the relationship between the club and fans was broken. It was done. I like that. Was broken. We were all sitting talking about it. You guys, the politicians in the pod, like John and Tony, and they were slating the board, and as we all were. And now we're
not happy. He's not happy. We're going soon. Man, come on, 8 o'clock. We're here.
In fact, we'll just stay on another half hour.
Nah, but it's been a fantastic journey for us, and to be fair, I know the phrase gets banded around. Postecoglou said it. We're just getting started in the podcast game, and we're growing. It's steady growth, but we're growing, and we appreciate everyone watching.
See, the big thing about Postecoglou and that is now as well that I've really noticed. He's such a humble man. Easy for me to say. And I think he just oozes class, and I think I don't think he's going to go anywhere anytime soon. I don't even think if big teams were calling, he seems loyal, and that's why I know you've seen rumours today that Juranovic is possibly
brilliant point. Yes,
Juranovic is a transfer target for Leicester. He's not gone anywhere either. They've bought into the club and they love it. And why would you want to go elsewhere when Postecoglou's got you playing football that you're playing? He's got you tight knit. I mean, you see, I think I shared a tweet today, and that's the best thing I've ever seen. Actually, it was Jota coming into training, and the caption was, "Are you going to sign?" And he was like, "Aye." He's just bought into being in Scotland, bought into being in a club, tight knit teammates. It's a family. Why would you want to go anywhere else? And I don't think it's going to. I think we're going to be riding a wave for quite a while.
Mm-hmm. I think it's actually a great point. Does the end here about Juranovic, and I mean, everyone was going, "Why is Rodgers up at Celtic Park again? Why is he here?" Could you imagine the uproar, William, if his last trip to Celtic Park was to take Juranovic? Could you imagine? I mean, that's dependent if he stays in the job down in Leicester, because he's having a wee bit of a sticky patch himself.
I think he was interviewed afterwards, and he did say, "I'm not here scouting or anything. I was just paying my respects to Wim Jansen," and so he should. And every time he comes back to the club, in my opinion, he should be applauded for what he done for us anyway. I know it was a bit sour the way he went, but he brought me up until now, he's brought me the best years I've ever had as a Celtic fan. Yeah. So I'm thankful for everything he's done for us.
And we usually finish on a tasty quiz, but since you brought up Rodgers and what he done, who will win a match? The team now or Rodgers' peak team in his first season?
That's tough. That's tough because we're not even started. We're not even began.
Get involved in the comments quickly before we end. The team now or Rodgers' peak team in his first season?
Who would win? You answer it.
Me personally, I think this team would win.
I think the high press is just suffocating.
I think Rodgers had us playing neat like a passive football in stages and slow build up. That
Abada would get 2, and Hatate would get 4, so we'd be all right.
Yeah, well, answer it though. I answered it. Come on.
I would say so. Yeah, going back as well. Then what's your midfield 3? I should have said
McGregor, Rogic, and Hatate. There has to be.
I think that's what probably 75% of fans would say at the moment. But O'Reilly's a baller, man. He's going to come in this squad and he's going to be the future.
Yep, he is. He's fantastic. And guys, that does bring us to the end of our first ever live show. And again, I just want to appreciate you all. Thanks for getting involved. The interaction has been top notch. The banter has been quality. So many debates going on in the comment section. It's crazy. Daniel said we can't end the show like this. Rodgers was on bits. I don't know what that means. That might be Scottish talk here, but Joe Findlay comes back in. Hatate in the midfield himself. Rest the others.
The boy's a machine. He's like something out of Terminator. He's unbelievable, and he's not even fit yet.
And then Ian McIntosh is back in. Dan, I've told you not to trust him, but so it's been great interaction. You've made me laugh, made William laugh, everyone involved. It's been great crack. Have you enjoyed this first ever live show?
It's been brilliant. I thought I wasn't going to make it with the flu, but I'm glad we're in. And again, just absolutely buzzing to see the next game. I was saying that to you in the group chat at the weekend. This time last year, I was watching the games live, and then I wouldn't even watch Sports Scene because I was that upset. And now I'm watching the games. Now I'm watching the games live, and then I'm watching Sports Scene about 14 times just to watch the highlights all over again. It's so exciting to watch, and it's just an absolute blessing. And I just can't wait for us to do it all again tomorrow night.
They're really trying to keep this debate going here. And just to address Jay Thomas, he's asking when the next live show is. We're planning, Jay, to doing it at the moment Tuesday and a Friday, but I think availability within the podcast this Friday isn't really good, so we're going to try this Thursday, but we'll keep you updated via our social media at Celts Endless on Twitter. It's all along the ticker tape at the bottom here, so if you give us a follow, you will see there's John, my co-host. If you hit
the wee bell on YouTube on your phone, it'll flash up every time we're due to go live that night. I'll let you know.
Yeah, 100%.
That's John. He's a tech guy, although he doesn't own a printer.
He's more than the tech guy. He's more than the tech guy. Come on.
Of course he is.
And then,
he's the reason we're doing. He's the reason we're doing all this.
Yeah.
John's got to be big props. And by the way, if you've not seen it, go and have a look at the Wim Jansen tribute. It's absolutely superb, and that was all John's idea. So big props to John.
Absolutely,
you've got to go and have a look at that.
Incredible. On our YouTube channel, it's not the usual kind of a podcast thing. It's like a show, guys. Just watch it. And Daniel comes in. Yes, we're going to get everyone on the extravaganza again pretty soon. We're going to think of a wee idea to bring that up. And as William said, our spin-off shows are coming back, rewinds are coming back. So we're gonna give it a good old whack this year, aren't we, William?
Yeah, just like the team.
Yeah, 100%. And on that note, till Thursday, but we'll let you know. Stay well and keep safe. Hail, hail.